So tonight with this, what we're doing here, all getting together, we have to realize that this is special. So tonight with this, what we're doing here, all getting together, we have to realize that this is special.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to see if I can remember how to do this crazy thing. Welcome to Esports and Coffee. We're happy to have you. It is August 1st, everyone. Oh my gosh. And if you haven't noticed, we have a full house. And we haven't had a full house since May? It hasn't been since May.
When I just randomly decided
Yeah.
I'm going to school.
Bye.
I really think that's how it happened. I think I was like, hey guys, so I registered for class. I can't stream anymore.
She ninja'd her way out.
I just did it.
Well, we are happy to be here on August 1. It's a very pivotal moment for us all, especially in higher ed and esports specifically. So happy to be here on a very, very fun day. As always, I am AJ. We have got Danielle here today. We have got Jackie, and we also have Sari with us. So the gang is all here and together today. It's so great. Oh yeah, I want to break out that song from High School Musical, but I definitely don't want Twitch to get mad at us.
Together.
I don't want to do that.
You sing that, and I'm singing Muppets.
Oh, I totally went Zac Efron all of the way.
I never watched that. I never watched
that's fine.
High School Musical.
That's fine.
Favorite
movies.
Oh my god.
No.
I have not watched it either, but you know I'm on my Greatest Showman kick and I watch it every day now.
Yes.
So because of that, all of my algorithms have all of the Zac Efron in them, and now I am inundated with we're all in this together. Last show we had impressions. This show we have musicals.
Get ready.
It's like a Grey's Anatomy series. Each week it's something different.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Just a reminder, if you're not in our Discord, just posted the link there. We are working on new initiatives always, but some of the things that we try and work on weekly, which I think helps with our discussion and spreads it out a little bit. You don't always have to be super active. We have active members in certain aspects. We have One Good Thing Wednesday where we encourage others to post about other creators or things to buy to support other individuals. We have Tip Yourself Thursday where we want you to get something that you might not normally get throughout the week and that you're able to really splurge on yourself. It's a coffee, a piece of pizza, an extra Mountain Dew for me. And then
is splurging coffee? I must splurge a lot.
But like extra. Do like the unicorn Starbucks extra, whatever they
sprinkles on top.
I go get my lavender bullshit. Yes.
But then I think our biggest one is our health and wellness challenge. We try and start over every month. And this past month, I really struggled with it. So it's August 1st. I'm really gonna try and get back into it. But I think that's what's great about the channel is that the support in it and that everyone is at different levels. I just saw Eugene hit 5 full days of his meditation, and he's been trying to get that for a while. So I'm very proud of him to sticky with it and just getting back to things. So I think that's why our channels are supportive, and we're working on our forums, using them for extra chats and extra discussion after our stream.
I have also loved following Anissa's reading journey. Like she is slaying. And I love that now she's like tracking it all. She's like, here's how many books I've completed and how much I finished, and it's really cool. Cool to follow.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the app that she's using for book tracking, because I've never I have an app that I downloaded at the beginning of the year, because this year I was like, I'd love to read more, and I downloaded the app, and that's probably the last time that I opened the app.
I mean, it's a start. You have to start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start by downloading the app.
Step one.
Exactly. So we have a lot of new coffee beans, and we are super excited that you guys have joined us. Here is what you can expect from Esports and Coffee. We are a safe space and all for all open dialogue. We support the mission to do better, as you see our hashtags all over the place, throughout gaming, esports, and just overall life, which is everything Jackie just highlighted. A lot of self stuff, no esports, right? What does ENC mean to you guys? I pass it to somebody. Sure. It's me passing a football. That's not how you throw a
Okay,
football,
I'm
guys.
gonna start off. When I got a message from a high school student who is now in our Discord, and she had reached out and said how much she appreciated what we're doing, even if it's just a post here and there or our voices are being heard more. And I think that's what we really want to accomplish is that we're supporting other marginalized groups. And I know that a lot of others are doing that too. But I just felt in that moment that we are making a change for someone who might not have had a voice and they're able to come to our Discord and connect and have discussions and be able to post answers. And I also posted in our admin group earlier, but I still feel like some of the Discords, I'm personally afraid to post in it. Sometimes I still have that PTSD of turning on my mic and it's the same thing. But in our personal one, I don't have that. And it has nothing to do with the other Discords. I think that they're doing great. It's something that I struggle with. But I think that people being able to come and to openly talk in a safe space. And I know that that's such a term that we use, but I really think we're building it and it's working.
I love that, and I agree with you. And I think that what we set out to kind of do with this, and how we all started, and what has become, are not necessarily one and the same. And I love that even more. Like I think our community is evolving what our space was because of who's in it, and I think that's awesome. Like you can feel everybody's the impression that everybody's left, especially people like Anissa, Eugene, and Karen, who are like super active, Jorge, that like how our awesome members are is really kind of what drives what the space resembles, which I think is also great. A couple weeks ago when we were at the NACE convention, I had a really awesome conversation with Megan, who I think is going by Meg now, so I'm going to work on changing my vernacular. Pepto, for those that know her well. And it really, I think it resonated for me, esports and coffee, and why I'm glad that this is here. And it's like, the dream, right, is to have so much fulfillment in your day job. You're doing a job that makes you feel amazing and fulfilled, and you're making progress and you're helping people and also making a paycheck and also getting insurance and also taking care of your family. And sometimes all of those things don't line up in the same place. And that's okay. They don't have to. We all have jobs because we all need to pay rent and mortgage and eat and things of that nature. And to have a group like Esports and Coffee to be able to come to, I can have my job that I love, but also have a place where I can get fulfillment and that I don't have resentment for my job for maybe not being able to help people as often as I'd like because I have a space I can go where we're helping each other and I feel like I'm being supported.
Yeah. I think Sari shared it. I'm not sure if she shared it or I shared it with her. I don't know. I live and breathe on random TikTok videos. It's really all over the place. She knows. So there was two people. It was a man and a woman. A man was African American guy, and it was a white woman, and they were speaking for each other. I think it was you, Sarah, that shared it. And it's the reason I think I like it because Jackie kind of said, yeah, the people are promoting marginalized voices and whatnot. I think that the major thing is like, I am not going to, I'll be an advocate. I'll use Eugene as an example because he's in here. I'll be an advocate for Eugene all day, every day. I feel, let's be serious, Eugene's a bigger advocate for everyone in the room than we could even be for him, even though we are. But thank you, Eugene, for being in our corner. But I'm never going to speak for him. I would rather him be able to tell his story or give him the opportunity to share. And same with vice versa. I'm sure he'd do the same. And it's the same with all of us. Just if you specifically talk about the four of us in this call, we all have a very, very different story. And it's not just speaking for us. I think that that's what I like about it. It's that it's giving everybody to have their unique life, and we're all just happy broken people, and that can come in and just chat and just be happy and loving together. And I like that the tide feels like it's shifting. We talked about I didn't get to talk about it too much because I had class for after NACE, and it felt really good to be in the group of people that wanted to promote positivity versus just constant upset or anger. I don't want to say anger, but it just felt better to find positive growth because we can complain about things all day, but like, what are we gonna do about it? How about there has to be action behind our words, and that's the main thing. It's very hard to have action behind your words, but I think that we're having action behind our words, guys.
I think so too. I like it. And to pull things back full circle, I will post the video that Danielle's referencing in our Discord later on this evening. So if you really want to see what this video is about, you might want to get in on our Discord.
It's a
Is what I'm
great
supposed to
video.
do. Exclamation point Discord again. Can I try it? I did it. Did I do it? I did
Ba-bam.
it.
Nailed it.
Oh, I'm supposed to do this. It's loud. Wait, what do I do? I just why did I just do this?
Look like
Crab.
a little crayon.
Is that what we were doing last week during our?
When you guys are intimidating me.
That's what we were talking about. I'm like, both of us are like, this, and I'm like,
I'm a bear.
AJ?
That's my impression of AJ. It's her like coffee house.
What's
Coffee
this
house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me think of
Yes.
what is that? What
It's
is
like
that
when you
movie
go
you guys
to
watch?
it's like when you go to
Poetry reading. or
yes,
whatever.
like slam
Yes.
poetry and things like that, and
Yeah.
that's how they give people kudos.
You guys, I don't know if anybody in here will know it, but I hope people in chat will know it. But it reminds me of this movie, So I Married an Axe Murderer, which is one of the best
Oh.
movies in the entire world.
I know it.
And yeah, Harriet, sweet Harriet, and he was always like in the coffee house on the mic, and then they were all like snapping, and it was very cute. If you haven't seen it, so highly recommend it. It's Mike Myers, that's his name. Shrek, yeah. Siri with all
very
the current
current.
references. I think it's from like 1995 or
It was
something like
it was
that.
sarcasm. I could
Shrek.
feel the sarcasm just spewing out of the comment section there.
I'm just gonna say casually that Cody definitely was not born yet whenever this movie came out.
She was
but
not.
I still think she would like it. 1993, good.
She's turning
Hey,
21, so she might have been born.
when it came out, I was that's the year I was bat mitzvahed, which in the Jewish culture is when you become a woman. So I was already a woman when this movie came out, or Cody was born, or whatever.
Oh man.
Okay, bringing us back around again.
Sorry, Jackie.
It's okay. I love where our discussions happen. That's kind of why it's very open, and but sometimes we need to. So everyone's wrapping up for fall. That's kind of what we're talking about. What are you guys preparing for, and what's your fall semester gonna look like?
NACE registration open today, everybody. I'll say it.
It
so
sure
AJ
did.
AJ doesn't have to. So make sure you're registering. I will eventually register. Horrible.
Where should people go for questions about NACE registration?
Not in
in the
my
ni-
DMs.
NACE Star League Discord, I say. NACE Star
Mhm.
League. We want to say NACE Esports is for membership questions, but we're going to eventually roll out some fun stuff in there too one day.
But
Yeah.
new rule: you have to look 3 places for the answer before you are allowed to ask AJ. So new rule.
And I mean, honestly, like at the end of the day, if you want the best answers to your questions, you are not going to get better answers than in the Naystar League Discord server anyways. Like I realize that I am in a unique position in which I am the person that people talk to the most. I am the first face they see. I onboard you into NACE. But when you ask me very technical questions about this particular piece of the rule set, I am not the competition person, so there's not a lot of things that I can really help you with. Like I'm like your parent. I get you to the point where you turn to 18, but then at that point
up
it's
to
time
you to
for you
go.
it's time for you to fly, and it's time for you
Leave the
to
nest.
it's time for you to grow and to leave the nest and to ask the people who are experts on the rule books and the registration process, so you get better answers than me having to fuddle my way through it myself to get you an answer that maybe is the right answer, maybe isn't sometimes.
I get it. For us, for fall season, um, last season, spring of 2023, yep, we had the most we competed in the most titles that we had ever competed in since we launched 7 years ago. Nope, whatever. Yeah, 7 years ago. And then this season, fall of 2023, we are competing on the least amount of titles that we have ever competed in, because let's just say, lesson learned, you know? We always had kind of approached our competitive strategy on, and this is particular for us, but if students want to play it, we'll play it. If there's students that want to play and there's a competitive landscape for them to play in, we'll do it. As long as people were showing up and trying out, we will support whatever they want to do. For us, we're in an interesting place because we have 5 different degrees that are all surrounding the game industry and making games. So we have a lot of gamers on campus. So like we still have never recruited from the outside for any of our teams, only existing students, and we get about 250 to 300 people to show up at every tryouts. So we don't. That's kind of our thing. So like if there's enough people that want to form a team, we're going to form a team. That was costly and tough because then we'd have varying levels of skill trying to put a team together, and the people that were very competitive were maybe getting frustrated because somebody else wanted to play, and so we fielded the team, but they were not on the same playing field. So this season, for the first time ever, we put a rank requirement in for tryouts. We still had a really good showing to do it, but dropped the teams that did not have enough people that hit that rank requirement to try out. So we're down to 7 competitive titles, which I think is a really good number. I'm actually excited to that. I think it's manageable. And we're still going to keep, club play going for all of the areas that we were not able to field teams for based on the level. For example, Smite, as awful as it sounds, we don't have a Smite team for the fall. I know that's our game.
Rip.
We had a couple people graduate. I know. We're still going to do a lot of Smite in our club. We still got a lot of people interested, but not at that competitive level. We dropped Halo because I don't know that there really is much of a competitive structure anymore, and it's really tough to field a team and give them the attention when there isn't much there for them to do or much going on. I forget what Rainbow Six didn't have enough people at the level for Rainbow Six this year, which I think is okay. And again, my big thing is we'll ebb and flow. So if in spring people want to come and we form them again, cool. And I explain this to students all the time so that nobody gets frustrated. But like there was a period of time we took a year off from Overwatch. And before Overwatch 2 came out, we didn't have enough people that really were interested in the game, and the people that were still competing and on the team were losing love for the game. Overwatch 2 came out and it came back. So we're good with that. It's not a final. We used to have a Fortnite team. Then can't have it. Nobody wants to play Fortnite on PC. So that's done. We used to have a PUBG team. We used to have a CSGO team. CSGO all jumped for Valorant. So not enough people doing that. So like we're good to, of course, as we know, if you've been watching for a while, we had a Magic the Gathering Arena team for a while. So we all just have different things that come and go, and I'm happy about it and I'm comfortable about it. So we're heading into the fall season, competing in 7 titles. We've already done trials, so we're year round. So we get to do our tryouts kind of towards, I think we started them at the end of May, concluded them beginning of July. So we have our teams for fall formed. And just so as we're talking about how we do things, we reset all of our teams every summer. So everyone has to retry out in the summer. When we prepare for spring, we only fill holes. So because we also have a graduation every month, we have a lot of holes that will fill as we prepare for spring, just based on graduates. So that's kind of the structure that we use. The structure has worked for us, but I'm very excited about heading into the season and seeing everybody and getting some good gameplay going.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was Brody.
It's fine. I am not as prepared as her. I'm finishing camps this week, and then we are planning a lot of events for the year, and then for the season, following week we're doing a virtual camp. Normally we move in early in order to save money. We didn't move it. We're not moving in on early, so we will be planning an entire I am planning the camp for the kids, and we are going to focus on communication and time management this year, which you would think we were going to focus on anything esports, but clearly that is not what I need to focus on. So I'm really gonna stress time management, communication, and integrity. So like they're pretty good. I think that there's a lot of room for improvement and understanding. Like, hey, I know that I have practice every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, so I should not wait for my assignment to start it at 4 p.m. and then turn around and say I'm going to miss practice. So that's like, because then you put me in a position where I have to say, yes, academics first, but what were you doing Sunday through Tuesday or Wednesday before that day? So we're going to talk about planning ahead of time, and I think that's something I want to really stress. We're hosting a couple of bigger events, so I am planning on meeting with my good friend Sari here to help figure out how to plan better. Because don't reinvent the wheel if somebody does it better.
I think so. My last day's the 13th, 12th technically. So I'm really trying to stress getting our teams formed and just general and all as you prepare for fall. I think schools should be looking at what teams that they have and not. I hear it all the time that schools are like, well, we don't have our tryouts until school starts. It's like, what do you mean? And I know we don't want to be considered traditional sports, but traditional sports starts the month before the school. They already know who's going to be on the team, and that's when they're starting to practice. If registration is this month, and then the first league matches or the first week in September, or depending on what league you're in, the week after that, and you only have a week to play with these new teammates, you're not going to be as cohesive as other programs who already know who you have and have spent the summer having maybe an off season, but have been practicing together just casually. And I think it's really important. We kind of do the same concept. And I hope whoever takes over follows that, because we spent an entire month of June just figuring out who maybe wants to be on a team. And we weed out students who realize that they don't really want to play competitively. They're more casual. And so trying to get them into, maybe they just want to be a shoutcaster or help on social media or other opportunities within the program, but they don't want to actually compete. And that weeds out students compared to, let's have a week of tryouts the first week of the semester and then find out 2 or 3 weeks later, I really don't want to play because it's too intense. So I feel like schools should at least have a general idea of who are going to be on their varsity teams, but then getting all the information too. How many times have you had to DM a student because you don't have their email or their tech ID or just general information that you need to fill out for these leagues? And getting all that information takes time. Making sure that they're eligible. That's one of the things that a lot of schools might lack in, is that they're just going to be like, you might be eligible. I think it's really important that we focus on the students that are eligible and getting them on the right track to filling out the registration, and that you're following the rules. That's my little stand.
One of the comments commented kind of compared to a small school compared to like what you're saying, Jackie. I work at a small school, and I also recruit from the student body, but I haven't lost a lot of my students. So personally, what I'm trying to do is keep those main varsity people who are returners, and then kind of like pepper in the new people, so to speak. My goal, really, I don't know that because I came from a traditional sports background. My goal is to really have those juniors and seniors be the people that are playing, and then the sophomores and freshmen learn from them, because I'm a traditional 4-year institution. Is it going to work out like that? Probably not, because the way esports are, they're very young, they tend to be good. But at the same time, like I have I had a very young team for the last 2 years, and at this point it's weird to say a 3-year-old team isn't young, but it was very young, all brand new for athletes, and it's just like teaching them how to be student athletes was a real struggle. I just as I just said, I'm going to be teaching all of them again time management, um and what else did I say? Time management and
Commitment, time
oh, yeah,
management,
communication.
and
So
integrity.
like I should at college, you should be at a point where you already know this. Usually in traditional athletics, you know these things. So we're teaching all that. But yeah, I actually, the first Friday that the students are back, we have freshman ignite. So they have, all the freshmen have to go to this student life event. So they have a big kind of like Friday night party. So I will have we will have a table with a computer that they can sign up and say, hey, they're interested in joining the esports team or being a part of it in some capacity, because I'm looking for more production and streaming help this year. And then the Tuesday during the first week of school, there's another event, and I do pull also from the student body, because now they're kind of noticing that it's not, yes, I have to recruit, and yes, I'm bringing in the students because that's, I need to bring in money. But the students that are staying there, or the students that are coming, I'm keeping them there because, or we are keeping them there because they're joining and they feel like they're a part of something, and they're not just attending classes for a monotonous day. Like they're just at least feeling like somebody's keeping track of them. So
Hmm.
ideally, I'd love to do their whole tryout thing, but it's just I do the tryout thing for the group that I say that's coming in, not necessarily the returners, unless there's somebody like I have a Radiant Valorant player. He's gonna make him try out, but he trialed with 100 Thieves. Like he's okay. Is he playing or is he not? Okay.
I just want to say I also love that about our group is that you have a different perspective that can help others, like Eugene and Refresh in here. That like Sarah, it seems like Sarah and I we almost have the same concept, but yours is much different, and it's still a valid opinion, and it still works for you, and it's great advice still. That's why I like our group
Yeah,
so much.
I love it too because it's interesting. I'm envious of Danielle's structure. I so we our program is all of our programs are accelerated. So students get their full bachelor's degree in less than 2 years, because they're in school like 100% of the time, and it's a preset bar chart. So they're not selecting classes, and they go to school at least a minimum of 40 hours a week. It's just because of the degree programs that we offer, they're very hands-on, and so they have to have that level of instruction, which means that from an esports perspective, we get each student athlete for at best case scenario about 14 15 months total, because we require them to be through their 4th month of classes before they can participate, because it is an accelerated pace and we want them to get used to it. They're in school first, we want them to get used to the structure of full cell, so they have to have at least completed 4 months worth of classes because each class is a month long. And then by the end, when they're approaching graduation, they usually are leaving before the last month or two because it's their capstone and they're trying to get their project together and prepare for graduation and get everything set. So we have that bulk of time in the middle. So we don't have a lot of continuing and returning. I don't have the seniors that can help the freshmen. It's constant turnover. So we need the funnel that gets the mass amount of people, because we're creating new teams almost all the time, because either we have them but they're about to graduate and then we won't, so we're trying to get the next funnel of people in. We don't I wish we had more tradition, I guess, or like I feel like you get to do a lot more with like camaraderie and team building and tradition and things when people are carrying it through. Like, oh, remember what we once did? So I think it's fascinating, and I am definitely envious of it, because I think it puts a little bit more like culture and um, you know, I guess to the program itself. It's cool. I think it's neat.
Yeah, they always joke kind of about that first year. I think we did the best we could. I did. I guess we'll say at that point I did the best I could with not even knowing how to kind of run an esports team. But they always kind of just like joke about what the difference are between their first year and the second year, and how it's growing. And I'm like, the difference is I'm doing things based on the students' input. I don't do things based on um, some of it's my input, right? But a lot of it, I try to ask them their thoughts, kind of like a 360 review, so to speak, because I don't think we're going to get better if it's just me running the ship or just pushing forward and not listening to anybody. So I continue to ask and say, hey, let's try it. If it doesn't work, we tried it, whatever. But what if we never try it? We should just always. So that's the goal. And refresh. I actually am at a tech school, so my engineers end up not being able to really play their senior year, because they all have internships, and most of them are basically hired that last year. So there are many different craziness at LTU that I have to continuously navigate. But again, we're only at year three, so like the brunt of my students are now juniors and sophomores and incoming freshmen. And Sari, I would 100% open up and do the big funnel again, but I don't have the space. Like, I have to limit my roster size to, I think my roster is going to be limited to 50 until we double up our space, because it's just, I'm already struggling to put in students. So I 100% think we could go to triple digits, but like, I can't do that to them. Like,
Yeah.
it would be unfair.
Yeah.
I did kind of like you were saying, Danielle. It made me think back to my coaching days, and it's been so long, and I'm out of practice. But I
So long, many moons
it's been
ago.
so long. But I did almost the equivalent of like an exit interview, so to speak, like at the end of every semester, like with all of my, even if they were coming back the next year, right? Even if they were coming back, like I always had my athletes, like if they were coming back, like I didn't do like retryouts, like once they tried out the first time and were on the team, as long as they were at Park and as long as they remained eligible, like they still had a spot on the team. But I did do exit interviews with them at the end of each academic year, and I always asked them, what their favorite parts of the program were, what were places that the program, where they felt the program might be lacking. But I also turned it around and, you know, I kind of set up benchmarks for them at the beginning of the year as well. So we kind of set up like program wide benchmarks that we wanted to hit. And I sat down with them and also did I always ask them during tryouts and things like that what personal benchmarks that they wanted to hit. And then we would kind of, at the exit interview thing, we would review those. If they hit that, why they think they did. If they didn't hit it, why didn't they? Maybe it's because that thing was no longer important to them. Maybe they wanted to be SSL and Rocket League at a time, and then they realized that that wasn't as important to them as getting a 4.0 for their semester or whatever. So I think that might be something that is good practice. And again, if you've got 50 some odd athletes and one of you, that is a lot of time to schedule like individual meetings with all of the students to get that accomplished, but you can definitely kind of space it out over the entirety of like the end of the semester, maybe a little bit into the end of the beginning of the summer. But I think kind of having those refreshing touch points at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year might help you guys set up for individual personalized success for the athletes, and then maybe programmatically help as well.
It's funny that you said an individual meeting. So I do a mid-semester meeting with everyone, pretty much everyone. If somebody has a 4.0, it's like a 4-minute meeting. Like, hey, good job. Are you good? Like, basically,
You
there's
good?
more to it, right? Like, and then I do an end of semester. So all 50 of those students I meet with at least twice this semester. I wish I could meet with them more, but that's why we have game coaches. Um, so it's just uh, I just had PTSD as soon as you said it. It needs to happen though. Like I have to. I want to make sure I'm reaching out to them and they don't feel like they're lost. Um, because sometimes it just gets busy and I'm doing a million other things as program directors. But like at least I could stop and say check in. Like, how's life? How you doing?
I
You want
think
to
it
talk?
gives them a voice
Mm-hmm.
though too. Like even if you can't implement a change that they want right away, you don't have to say no. You can be like, let's look into that, or maybe why don't you submit a larger proposal of how this could be implemented, and it'll give them a task to do. But it's giving them a voice and for them to felt heard. And I think it's
Yeah.
great that you do that.
Well, I even tell them kind of, I preface, and I'm like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like, this isn't going to happen at a job. Like, you're not going to get this opportunity to have this voice. I really hope for you that you're going to have an amazing manager. It took me till now and it's really just because nobody knows how to run esports, and I still have parameters sometimes, but like, that's the only reason I get to do pretty much. I don't want to say whatever I want, but like,
I
so
mean,
I tell
Yeah.
them
you're the
they
program
don't.
director. You have the final say, and
y-
I feel like students hate that when they're like, "You're making all the decisions." It's like, well, I am, but I'm also consulting and considering other options. But I am the final say.
Yeah, I don't. I think they're pretty good when it comes to that. Because I have a very much like input policy. I guess not policy. It's not a policy. Input conversation. Like I want them to come tell me when they think something's
HR
crazy.
suggestion box.
Well, it's more of like, hey, my DMs are my suggestion box, but like some of the things, like year one, I couldn't get a bunch of switches, like I couldn't get extra stuff, I couldn't get that, but I got to the next year. I don't want to say open door policy. It's everybody says that. Um, I I because I also don't technically have an office, so I guess it's always an open door office. Oh,
She's always there.
I'm squatting right now in an office that I'm getting kicked out of because we hired an SID. That's another story. So and then this year I was able to get 2 more switches, and then we got more PCs, and then we got a 4K projector. So like they're seeing progress and understanding that sometimes even though it's not going to look like a massive overhaul, it's showing that it's small progress. And I guess I also told that LTU's really supportive of the esports program, or has been. I know there's only so much you can do. Like I can't manifest an entire triple the space we have, right? Like that's. But anyway, sorry.
What curious? What do you? How do you guys handle coaching for the titles? Are they paid? Are they volunteer? Are they students? Are they external coaches? Are they alumni?
I just talked a lot, but I'll talk again. So I have 2 paid coaches. I want to try to get 3. The reason that I'm talking about the specific paid coaches, we are competing in a traditional athletic conference, so I really want to have paid coaches for that game, because that's our traditional athletic conference. Like that's you wouldn't have a football team running without a football coach. So, um, as for this, so I said that we're doing an online hybrid like camp. I'm doing a coaches retreat the day before. And I'm trying to give them an idea of structuring practices and very much examples. And I met with them briefly for an hour. The Sunday we came back from NACE, which was brutal. Like I was so tired. But we met with them and I said, hey, I want you to like get an idea of your goals. We're going to talk about them. You're going to share with each other because maybe your goals will help another coach. I also plan on potentially paying for an online coaching session for the kids. But the people that I asked if the coaches could be present and then they could learn from their coaching style because they need to learn and get better. And just also stressing to the coaches that everybody doesn't learn the same way. Like, so we need to make sure we're being mindful of that. Just because Overwatch is taught a certain way doesn't mean that every kid in that room is understanding how Overwatch is you're conveying um, a comp to them. Maybe they need to see it in action. Maybe they need to do it. Maybe they need you to draw it out for them. I don't know. Maybe they need to read it, but you need to try to learn how they are as people and convey that message to them. But everybody's young too, so
Okay, I'm reading chat too. I think students can be coaches, but to a degree. Like my League of Legends coach came in as a freshman, and our titles for our student workers are assistant coach or manager. So if they don't know how to play the title, they're more of a manager, and we'll work on getting them some coaching sessions. But if they like my League of Legends coach, he really didn't want to play her. He wanted to coach and manage the team, and he's been one of the best coaches for the team. He's really helped. He'll sit down and do one-on-ones with each player that needs extra help and really focus on how I'm horrible with League, but when Baron or there's a dragon somewhere, all that stuff. But I feel like he is a great example of a coach. One of my other students didn't know how to play Rocket League, but he came on to manage the team and he learned how to play Rocket League and he developed into coaching, but the students still respected him. So he was more of a manager, but he developed into coaching. And we didn't have the funds to have even part-time coaches at the time. And volunteer coaches, as much as I love to have them, they're not as reliable sometimes. They don't show up or they don't come to matches, or it's like, I hear you can't come every week. So we have paid coaching options now for some of the titles that are past graduates, that we can actually pay them instead of just having a volunteer come in.
I'll say that is, we have done essentially something different every season, and I don't think I've found the right solution yet. So it's hard to, when you compete on multiple titles, to have paid coaches because you like like I said earlier, we have 7. That's our least amount we've ever had. I can't being able to pay 10 coaches for 10 teams if you're competing on 10 titles is a huge undertaking. And we have used things like Gamer Sensei before, and then we'd have somebody that we really liked from Gamer Sensei and tried to kind of see if we could scoot around and work with them one-on-one. That didn't necessarily work, but that's not an affordable option for me, especially not to field this many teams. Coaches can coach multiple titles. You got to find those. And to me, again, that the pay structure, how those work, we haven't had the best luck. We're still working on it. We've tried alumni as coaches. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes they were former teammates of the people who are playing. And so the dynamic is a little bit funky. So we're going to try external paid coaching this year. We're trying 2 like overall coaches that are not game specific, that are like coaching, communication, VOD review, look at things, and then trying to explore from an individual basis, like, all right, let's try to find somebody for Rocket League. We're going to do 3 weeks worth of sessions and then go back to general coaching. If we find somebody great that we think will last through the semester, we're going to try that. But this will be our first real attempt at going outside for coaches and not necessarily using a service like when we used Gamer Sensei, because that just kind of added up and became unaffordable. So
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what we're going to be.
Gamer
we have
Sensei
some
used
thoughts.
other students also. We used them, and we had a student from a different university in our state, and we could never figure out times for him to come coach us because he was doing CRL stuff for his own teams. And I didn't know that he was a student until my players were talking to him like, oh wait, so we just hired another student. See, I
Mhm.
do think that the struggle, like Karen said, that there's not other varsity teams that have student coaches, but when you don't have the funds to do it, and a lot of us still don't, you have to make do. And it's just, I think we'll get there. But how many, what was it, Mizzou or some of the other schools, they posted for full-time positions, and I love that. It's coming. It's just, it's slow.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think that it's like you said, it's young industry. Other sports would actually have GAs. Um, like so the football, for instance, our soccer team they have two GAs that coach the reserves team. Um, and so even with football, they have GAs that they're not position coaches, but they're like assistant coaches. But they want to go. That's like their career. They want to go in coaching, and I think we're finding more GAs that are interested. At LTU, there's a lot of people looking for GA's position that were like, I don't know what esports is, and I want to be your GA. And I'm like, I cannot spend a year trying to teach you what esports is because I need help now. Um, I only have one student, I guess, coach for Valorant, and he did play, but then left, and then came back and was like, "Hey, Danielle, I really want to be a part of the team, but I don't really want to compete, and I think I really like the coaching idea of it." And so he's been coaching, and understanding that I'm throwing a bunch of students or young people who just graduated, I have to teach them how to be coaches. I know how to be a coach. I was on a traditional athletic team, so it's up to me to teach them. So that's actually one of my major focuses this year is making sure that I'm giving the tools to my staff so they know how to utilize them and initiate them. They might know the esports portion or their game, but I need to tell them, "Hey, you have to structure things a certain way and give structure. Like kids thrive, children thrive on structure, right? Adults thrive on structure because we did when we were kids." So
Alyssa from Shenandoah had a coaching session at NACE, her and Adam, and it was so well done. They broke us up into little groups and then had us have like 3 minutes talk what our coaching style was, what your structure was like, and a whole bunch of other questions. And some people just didn't know how to answer. So I think it was great having those little roundtable discussions on how to help each other out or how to pinpoint some barriers that someone might have or what someone is doing good in the space.
That's
I like
awesome. I think, yeah.
Eugene's
Go ahead.
approach. Sorry, I was just going to say Eugene's approach. I would love to do that, Eugene. I am the only full time staff member. So we already know I have a problem working too much, my dude. Go ahead.
I definitely no, it's okay. I think I'm definitely going to look into it. I don't think there's like a magical formula yet because there's such a variety in budgets, in availability, in what your teams look like. Every situation is different. I mean, again, we've been doing this for 7 years, and not every season, but at least every year, we've tried a completely different way. And not that any of them completely failed. We just haven't found the thing that works. So we're still trying to like plug and play in what works for us. And I love the idea of teaching team managers or full-time staff members how to coach to help supplement or support like what we can't fill or whatever. It's a really neat approach. So again, just still trying to figure it out, and as aren't we all?
I think it's something that a lot of programs struggle with, unless
Mhm.
there's only 1 to 2 specific titles that a university is doing, and the rest are student led. And we have 5. I think we have 6 this semester, so we added 2. But again, where's the resources for that to provide the necessary elements? And it's like, when do you pull back, or where do you accept to just provide opportunities for the students? So there's that balance that I think everyone is still trying to figure out.
Mhm. I agree.
When I write curriculum for how to coach, sorry, let you go, AJ.
There you
I'll
go.
share it with everyone.
Yes. So
I don't know
we've
if it'll
got
work.
4 minutes left. So, as we prep for the upcoming year, if we've got some new coaches and directors that are watching, maybe it's their first year in the role, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a new coach and director starting their first year? Because we do
Don't
have
compete.
quite a lot in NACE. Like, I'm setting up so many calls of like, oh, like your school has been a NACE member for a while, but you yourself are new to NACE and you have never coached a collegiate program before. So everybody's getting like NACE crash courses. But like from a program managing director coach side of things, one solid piece of advice.
Don't compete in I'm Still Your Sari, because I also did it. And now I can't backtrack. Don't compete in 7 titles.
Yeah, I'll echo. I mean, what Karen said is perfect. Sub save lives. Love that. There should be substitutes on every team that you could ever possibly have. But the biggest thing that I always try to say is lean on everyone else. This space is an amazing place. And there are some fantastic people here that have tried and failed a million times before you. Lean on them, ask for things, ask for questions. Find schools that are similar to you and connect with them. Find schools that are completely different than you and connect with them. When we got started, I've heard a lot of people say the same story, but like, this is our athletic. We will never have any other athletics at our entire university other than esports. So I don't have a handbook. I don't have a media training. I don't have any of the things. And so we literally copied Doc Haskell's. I mean, like probably find, replace, and maybe a couple of other things. I've gotten a ton of advice from Sean at St. Clair. I've learned a lot from just everybody kind of all around. Don't be afraid to learn from people. You might not be replicating what they've done, but you'll learn from it.
Mine's gonna go a little different. So we have a player eligibility sheet that we have them fill out that goes over, and we have this because of instances that happened of players going on to Twitch streams being toxic. So I think if you're a new director or coach, you need to be prepared to let a student go if they don't abide by the rules and if they're being too toxic. I think that there are a lot of programs that are like, we only have 7 students on our team. If one of them breaks our rules, then what am I supposed to do? Don't let the team play. The students might get mad, but it's that other student's fault. And we have to get into that mindset that it's not okay and that there are consequences. And I hate it when people are just like, we only have 7 people for this title. We can't let that happen. One of our sub just isn't good enough. You know what? Too bad. So just get in that mindset that it's okay, that you are gonna hold out. And I know that the students are there to learn and that everyone's position of toxicity is different and that there are giveaways for that. But at the same time, if it's aggressive enough, it's like, okay, we really need to have that sit down. It's gone past a warning. You're going to be suspended for a week or so. And because of that, the team isn't going to be able to play.
And I will
love
say, for the ones that we're talking about, subs save lives, you might have seen something new in the NACE rule set. If you perused those yet this upcoming year, it will be required that you have 1 sub on all of your rosters. So, subs do save lives. So my piece of advice, and this would be whether you are a NACE institution or not, wherever you are deciding to have your program live, wherever you're deciding to compete or affiliate yourself with, Just stay as up to date as you can with those organizations. Pay attention to the emails that get sent and the Discord announcements. Don't silence them. Don't mute the Discord announcements. I think if you are spending your budgetary dollars to be a part of an association for your program and for your students, you owe it to that to be informed of what's going on in that association so you can take full advantage of everything that there is to offer. There's a lot of, speaking from the NACE side of things, I think there's a lot of cool and exciting things that we really want to get off the ground and going for this year. And the only way that you're going to know that those things are happening is if you read your emails and you don't mute our Discord member announcements. So just stay informed wherever you are. Take full advantage so your program, yourself, and your students can benefit at the end of the day.
Yeah, I'll highlight a couple things in chat. There's some really good things that have been mentioned. So if you haven't gone through and read them, you definitely should. Obviously, we've talked about how subs save lives. I think that's really important. I love Eugene's point about making sure they fit with the team is much more important than how they perform as a player. There's like that old saying that's like nothing kills a good teammate or good morale more than what you're willing to put up with from someone that isn't good. And so what you're doing by doing that is you're hurting your good people. And so you really want to make sure that that is not happening. K-Rug, always with dropping the knowledge, especially on working with college students. That is something that's super important. They are students first. They are excited. They will overextend themselves. They will get fried. They will get in fights. Understand your academic schedule, I think, is always super helpful too. Just a lot of good thoughts in the conversation. Eugene does a behavioral agreement, which is really awesome. I would love to read that, by the way, if you're willing to share it. But a lot of really good thoughts all around, and we can keep the conversation going in our Discord as well.
We
Guys.
do have a schedule. Wait, we do have a schedule change. So our next schedule,
Oh, yeah.
instead of 8:15, we switched it to 8:17, and that is our big coffee house chat. So we're going to be announcing who we have talking with us, and it's going to be that Thursday at 5 p.m. That's our next topic. Okay, I'm ready.
Hey
Thanks,
guys, I
yeah.
think what are we all out of?
What are we out of, Danielle?
Coffee.
Hey!
I need more coffee.
We did it!
I haven't been here for
Everyone's here. We did it.
guys. Didn't you miss me? I mean, most of you saw me at Mace, and I'm super rowdy. And you basically, Sari did the best impersonation of me that I have ever.
They were both so
always
good.
seen. Like, I need to clip it and then send it to people. That's forever. Like, we will describe Danielle in that way.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. And we will see you for our coffee house chat in about 2 weeks. Take care.
Bye, friends.
Going to play Diablo.